Well, according to the National Alliance on Mental Health, or NAMI, children with mental illness can lead productive lives. But did you know 4 million children and adolescents in this country suffer from a serious mental disorder that causes significant functional impairments? Of children ages 9 to 17, 21% have a diagnosable mental or addictive disorder that causes at least minimal impairment. Half of all lifetime cases of mental disorders begin by age 14. An untreated mental disorder can lead to more severe, more difficult to treat illness.
And NAMI says the problem is that the overwhelming majority of children with mental disorders aren't identified. They lack access to treatment or support and therefore have a lower quality of life. As a matter of fact, only 20% of all kids are identified and get help. Well, joining us this afternoon to help us understand are Felicia Baker and her daughter, Sarah Schaefer. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having us.
Felicia, tell us your part of the story about Sarah.
In high school, her senior year, started to see things that didn't make a lot of sense to me. At first I put things down to her just being a teenager. You know, you hear the teen years. Right. And so it went on for a while, but it seemed to get worse. Became a daily struggle just to get her to get out of bed and go to school. And that's one of the symptoms is several want to sleep. They want to isolate themselves.
Symptoms of? Depression. Okay.
So the next step is trying to diagnose, you know, where do you go to get the help? And making her realize, and that's the problem so many times, is the people suffering and living with us every day don't necessarily know what's happening. They don't understand it. They don't even necessarily know they have a problem. So finally, after some struggles, we finally got her to a psychologist that tested her. At that time, he tested her, said she was suffering from depression, severe panic disorder. She often had panic attacks. Right. And anxiety.
Wow.
And we began our battle.
Yeah.
And one of the issues you have is they could go weeks at a time with, you know, feeling very isolated, wanting to isolate themselves, sleep a lot, not participate in basically daily, you know, the daily lives. And then they start feeling better. So then they think they're okay.
Yeah.
So the battle continues and continues.
What about the stigma that is attached to mental illness?
Well, and that is the problem. There's so many misconceptions and myths, and the stigma that you live with, the shame. You can't talk about this because you feel like you're going to be judged. And even the families, and I have to say I was one of them, there were so few people in that knew what was going on, that, you know, and thank God for them. My husband, that was my rock. Not only he was trying to support me and keep me going, so I could help her.
Yeah.
I had very close friends, family that kept it together, but it was only within that very small circle of people. Nobody talked about it outside the circle,
right,
because of the stigmas.
Right.
That go along with it.
That go along with it, because it's so misunderstood.
Sarah, let me ask you this. First off, thank you for coming in and talking to us. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And I know this is probably kind of difficult, but you made this decision a while back to talk about it. Why?
Kind of like what Mom touched on, is a big fact that we have to start talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, a few years ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to, but I've gotten to a point within myself that I can talk about it in order to help others come to talk about it.
And that's your big thing, is you want to reach out to other people as well.
And so people aren't feeling ashamed, and they can seek the help that they need instead of suffering alone.
Can I ask you about your tattoo? Could you tell us, show us your tattoo?
This is a big thing that we all need to remember, is that we all have miles to go.
Yeah.
I came across this poem by Robert Frost. It's called Stop by the Woods on a Snowy Evening.
Yeah.
And it ends, the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep, miles to go before I sleep.
So how do you interpret that?
So it reminds me that the dark places were tempting, you know, to just not deal with it anymore, to not, like she said, isolate myself, not deal with it at all.
Right.
But I have miles to
You
go.
have miles to go.
And you got to keep on
That's
on
awesome.
going.
All right, Felicia. So you own Cowboy Up in Dover, and you love to line dance, you and your husband, and you're going to actually teach us here in a few minutes because you found out it was a great way to address this sensitive topic.
Well, it started, I don't know if it was intentional, subconsciously, I don't know. But as coming back into the small business community, I've been out in the corporate world for a long time. I knew I wanted to get involved in the community again and give back to the community, and I had that opportunity. We have a very large venue. We have wonderful customers.
Yeah. So the
family.
idea for Country Jam actually came up.
Yes. Well, we wanted to have a benefit. We wanted to bring more awareness to mental illness and addressing it, and what better way through music and dance, and so we wanted to have a benefit. Lots of activities for the children, 6 bands, plus other performances, all day of music, food, entertainment, and just a good time.
And as we mentioned, you're not going to go too far because coming up next, you're going to give us a little lesson in country line dancing. Oh boy.
Yeah, we're going to be dancing up an appetite as well. So a little bit later on in Delmarva Life, we're in the kitchen putting a spin on the tailgating classic, Chicken Wing. Also going to speak with actress, mother of 4, and football wife, Holly Robinson Peete, to see how she makes game day good for everyone.
Delmarva Life, we'll be right back.